Hey everyone, welcome back, and let's write some more Leetcode today. So today let's solve a problem, minimum number of pushes to type word to. So this problem at first might look more difficult than it actually is. The idea is we're given a string, which is gonna maybe look something like this, with a bunch of characters from lowercase a through z. We're also given, I guess, like a phone pad, and if you don't know how these work, like back in my day, before we had like smartphones and stuff, if you wanted to type characters, you had to press this button, which usually maps to the number 2, but you press it once for the character A, you press it twice to get the character F, and then a third time for the character G. And usually you would just wait a few seconds after that, and then it would like finalize that character. Because obviously if you wanted to type 3 A's consecutively, you'd have to obviously type this 3 times. You'd have to click it 3 times. So that's kind of something they don't really completely clarify in this problem, so I just thought it was worth mentioning. The idea is that we want to type this string. Now, obviously, there would only be one way to type it given a normal keypad like this, but the idea is that we can actually rearrange characters. We can actually put a bunch of characters on this number. So 2 could map to not only these characters, but it could also map to these. And we can kind of arrange it any way that we want. So one number could be associated with as many characters as we want. But a single character can only be mapped to one number, which makes sense because there's no reason we would want to map like the character A, for example, to 2 different numbers. That wouldn't really help us type out the word any better. And the thing that we're trying to do in this problem is minimize the number of clicks or button presses that we have to make to type out this entire string. So I think one thing that's kind of difficult about this problem is first, it's kind of difficult to even just understand. It's a lot of text here. The picture makes it better, but it is a tiny bit ambiguous, I think, the way that this is worded. But I will also say they give us the idea of remapping keys, which is required in this problem. But just because they say that doesn't mean we actually have to specify that mapping. We don't actually have to create that mapping. I mean, it might be possible that to solve this problem that we do, but based on the requirements of the problem, they don't actually tell us that we have to return the mapping. All they say is minimize the number of pushes to type out the word. So let's try to see if we can do it without specifying that mapping. How would we even go about approaching a problem like this? Well, let's consider what would minimize the number of key presses. The first example does a decent job of kind of making things understandable. For example, if we wanted to type out this string and minimize the number of key presses, we would map A to the key 2, B to key 3, and C to key 4, etc., etc. The reason we're mapping them to separate keys is because that way, to type each character, it only takes one button press. Now you might start to develop a little bit of the intuition. So for this example, it would be 5. And keep in mind that in the context of this problem, we're only allowed to use the keys 2 through 9. So there's actually only 8 buttons available to us. So now think about it this way. If we had 8 distinct characters in the input word, then we could obviously map each of these to a distinct button. And then it would take 8 key presses. What happens when we introduce another character? I don't know what comes after H, to be honest. I think it's I. But now we have 9 characters, and all of them are distinct. Well, the only choice we have now is like the first 8 can each be mapped to a different key, and then the last one has to be duplicated. It doesn't matter whether we map it to 9 or 8 or 5 or whatever. It has to be duplicated. So these first 8 will take 8 buttons, and then this one will take 2 button presses to type out. So then we get a total of 10. Now, what if there's duplicates? That's kind of the main thing about this problem. For example, we have a bunch of A's, a bunch of B's, a bunch of C's, whatever you want to call it. And then some of the characters are less frequent. Maybe we have the rest of the alphabet, and each of those is just one character each, D, E, F, G, whatever. So now how would you do it? How would we minimize the key presses in this case? Well, probably the most frequent character should be the first character on a separate button. Like each of these should be on its own separate button, and each of these should be the first character, because we only want to have to do one button press for each of these, because we're going to have to type this out 3 times. If we had to do 2 button presses, it would take 6 total button presses to type it all out. If we had to do 3, it would take 9 9 total. But if we mark it as the first character, it'll take 1 each, which is 3 total. So that's how we minimize this. Basically, we can just be greedy. So now that we kind of know how we're going to go about this, we want to find the characters that are most frequent. In other words, we want to do a bit of counting. So we can use a data structure like a hash map to do that. And I'm actually not going to be using a hash map when I code this up. You'll see why, just because it makes it a bit easier. Assume we have some kind of mapping. So for every single character, A has like a count associated with it. B has a count associated with it as well. I'll kind of mark some of these just to make this a bit more concrete and understandable. But we're going to do that for every single character. And remember, the size of this won't be larger than 26 anyway. So technically that is constant space. So after we have the counts, all we really care about is the counts, because it doesn't matter to us whether it's A that has a count of 5 or that B has a count of 2 or whatever. The characters actually don't matter, because remember, we don't actually have to create that mapping. We just have to know what's the minimum number of key presses. So we don't care what the most frequent character is. We just care about the count associated with it. So what we do is just take the values, and then to these, we're going to sort them in descending order, because we want to go through the most frequent ones first. We want to go through the big numbers first. And this is what we're going to do. Remember, we only have 8 total slots. So this is how the algorithm is going to work. We're going to take the most frequent one, and we're going to assign it to, like, let's say the first open slot. We're going to do that with the first 8 most frequent ones. And for each one of them, we're going to take the count and add it to the total result. Because if this character shows up 5 times, then it must take 5 key presses to, get all occurrences of that character in the string. It doesn't matter what order those characters show up in the string. All it matters is it took 1 key press each to type out this character. So we just take the count and total it up. We do that for the first 8 of them. The reason is the next 8 are going to be a tiny bit more complicated. Assume that these are the next 8, and let's say D has a count of 3 associated with it. If this is part of the next 8 set, then it's not going to take 3 key presses to type out all the Ds. It's going to be taking this number multiplied by 2, because it's going in a repeated slot. Like, this will be the second character in one of the slots. So we'll have to keep track of that, and it's not too difficult to do. It's just a little bit of math. So we'll just keep track of the distinct characters that we've seen. At the point that it has reached 8, we'll be able to detect that. And this kind of will apply to the next 8 as well, which it'll probably go up until 24, because we only have 26 total characters. But anyways, that's the idea behind this. And keep in mind that just the fact that we're sorting this doesn't mean it's n log n, because these are going to be distinct. So it's going to be 26. Like, the max size of this is going to be 26. So technically that's constant. So the main bottleneck in terms of time complexity is going to be just iterating over the input string, which could be a variable length, which could be of O of n. But the space complexity is going to be constant as well. So let's code this up. So this was kind of the only notes that I took when I was solving this problem. So that's kind of my intuition, but I don't know if that'll be helpful for you. But so what we're going to do is take the count of each character. And remember, we could use a hash map, but we're just going to want the values from that hash map anyway. So it's easier to just use an array. So I'm going to do this. It's going to be of size 26 initially. It's going to be all zeros. And then we're going to do the mapping. So for every character in the word, we want to map that character to an index and then increment it by 1. Now, the only problem is this character is not going to be an integer. That's 0 through 25, which those are the valid indices. So how can we do that? We can do a bit of ASCII math. When I say ASCII, this is the word I'm trying to say. I guess it's not really a word. I think it stands for something, but we can basically get the ASCII value of the current character. But even that might not be an index from 0 through 25. So what we can do is subtract that by lowercase a, because we know all the characters are going to be from A through Z. So this way, lowercase a, if it's over here, subtracted by lowercase a will be 0. Lowercase b subtracted by this will be 1, etc., because ASCII values go in ascending order. Lowercase a might map to some number. You can call it x. Lowercase b will map to x plus 1, and that's kind of the order that it follows. So this would be x plus 2, in case you didn't know. Now we can actually sort this in descending order in Python. That's pretty easy to do. Pretty sure I cover this in my Python for Coding Interviews course. So this can be sorted in reverse order like this. This will be descending order. Now we want to calculate the result, calculate the number of button presses. So this will initially be 0, and we're going to do this. For the count in our counts array, we're going through them in descending order because we sorted them like that. What we want to do is add to the result this count, but at some point, we're going to need to multiply this by 2. And at some point, we're going to need to multiply this by 3. And that's determined by the number of distinct characters that we've seen. So I'm going to have a second variable, which I'm going to call distinct. Initially, it's going to be 0. Every time we get to a character, we're going to increment that by 1. So this is going to be multiplied not by just distinct, but by distinct divided by 8. This is integer division. So for 0 through 7, this divided by 8 is going to give us 0. But that's kind of a problem because we don't want to multiply this by 0. So we're going to do 1 plus this. Now, when this reaches 8, we're going to have 1 plus 1, which is going to be 2, and then it's going to multiply this by 2. Eventually, when this reaches 16, this will be 2, and then this will plus 1 will make this 3 multiplied by that, etc., etc. And so I think that's actually the result. I think this will entirely work. Let's just check. And yeah, it does, but there's a couple more points that I want to make. First of all, this runtime stuff is random. I promise you this is pretty much the most optimal solution in terms of big O at least. But you might be thinking, well, what if we get to a count that's 0? Why didn't we need to put this here? Like if the count is actually greater than 0? Well, first of all, if the count is 0, then all values after that are also going to be 0, in which case this count will be 0 and nothing will be added to the result. So we'll be incrementing distinct, but that won't really make a difference. And also, if you didn't want distinct in the first place, I think you could actually not have had it, and you could have done something like this for I in count, because distinct pretty much just kept track of what index we were at. So we can get rid of that and just use the index itself. So I think this will also work. Let's just check. And yeah, you can see it does. Again, the runtimes are pretty random. There's one last way we can actually solve this problem. Instead of sorting this explicitly, we can also use a heap. We will need a max heap, of course, because we want to go through the values in descending order. The problem is that Python by default doesn't have a max heap. So let me show you how we can get around that. Again, I think this I also cover in my Python for Coding Interviews course, how to use a max heap in Python. First of all, we're going to take the values, the counts, and turn them into a heap. So we're going to do heapify. This, again, is going to be a min heap. So the way to make it a max heap is instead make the values negative. So as we're counting, instead of making the counts positive, we can make the counts negative. So now, even though this is a min heap, the values will be stored in like the opposite order. The most negative numbers will come first. So now going through this, we can do something like this. While the counts heap is non-empty, and I guess we'll have I here, which tells us how many times we've popped. And here we're going to do heap q, heap pop. So this will pop technically the smallest value, but we know that that smallest value is actually a positive value. So this will be a negative value, but we'll make it positive by just adding the negative sign in front of it. So now this will give us the count. And then I think the rest of the solution is pretty much the same. Just make sure not to forget to increment that I pointer. So let's give this a shot. And yeah, you can see that this also works. So instead of using sorting, we use a heap, which given that the heap won't be larger than 26, each of these pops should be a constant time operation. So this is kind of the bottleneck in terms of the time complexity. If you found this helpful, check out Leetcode.io. I explain literally all of this syntax, and I really think Python is the best language for coding interviews. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.